Okay, good morning, everybody, and we're on what is this?
Nun Aleph Amud Beis.
Nun Aleph Amud Beis. And the Mishnah said we're on about what is this?
6 lines, long line.
Yeah, six wide line. So the Mishnah said there was a board that was shutfin. Till now, we just worked on figuring out how you can have a board shutfin. And 1 second, I'm sorry, I forgot one more thing. Okay. And we figured out a board shutfin. But now we're talking. Now it says in Mishnah that one of them, the first one passed by and didn't cover it, and the second one passed by and didn't cover it. So it says Hasheni Chayev. So Rashi says and also that if you take it literally, it wouldn't make sense and it wouldn't be true that both of them passed by and both of them are negligent, they didn't cover it, so both of them are chayev. What's the difference if he passed by first or second? Both of them saw it and both of them are responsible and both of them didn't cover it, both of them are chayev. So the Mishnah means that the first one was using it and then the second one was using it. Then it says the second one is chayev. And the first one is not chayev because the second one is using it. And that the Gemara is going to ask, from when does the first one get the p'tur? When does the first one become pater? What does he have to do in order to become pater? There are two gisos in the Mishnah. We said yesterday that one Mishnah that one says that the second one is chayiv, one gisos says the first one is chayiv. But I don't think there's any real difference between the two gisos because the Gemara is going to say when does it transfer the chiyuv? When does the first one get pater? Both of them should be chayiv. But it says in the Mishnah there's a certain case where the second one is chayiv or the first one is chayiv, but the Gemara is going to say that the first one eventually is pater. So there's no real difference in the gears, I think, because both of them are saying, I think Gemara is going to explain that the first one is also going to be chayiv unless something happened.
Well, the second one starts to be esek in the.
So that's the Gemara's question. We'll see the Gemara. It takes 2 lines, and then we'll go back to the Mishnah. And the Chor doesn't make a difference what the gear says because everyone's going to learn, like the Gemara says, that the first one is also responsible until a certain point, and then the second one is going to take the full responsibility. Rishon Amos Miftah. From when does the first one become pater? Rabbi Bav Yosef Tavayu Mishmei the Rabbi Barbachana Dama Mishmei Rabbi Mani. So both Rabbi and Rav Yosef are saying the name of Rabbi Mani, but they have a difference of opinion of what he said. One of them says when the first one it leaves the second one using it. It means the second one came and he started using it, then the first one is pater because the second one is using it. The other one says Mishim Shalo Dalyo, which seems to mean that the first one is still pater even if the second one started using it. Second one is that the second one is not pater even if the second one started using it until he gives over Dalyo. Rashi says Dalyo doesn't mean Adli. Rashi says Dalyo means the cover of the bore. He has to officially give him over the cover of the bore, and you are now responsible to cover it. The first one Dhamma says that once the second one starts using it, the first one could go. And that means that the second one has responsibility, and I'm off the hook because you're using it. And the other one says only when he gives him over the cover. And says this first one gives over the second one and says he doesn't have to say it, but giving over the cover is another way of saying that you're the one who's responsible to cover it. Otherwise, the first one is still going to be fine.
But if he's using it,
even if he's using it, the first one is still has responsibility. That's what it seems to be. I think that's what it says in the Gemara, and we'll see a little bit further. It says machlokes. So far, it's a machlokes Rabbi Rav Yosef what Rabbi Mani said. Now the Gemara is going to say ketanoim. It's really machlokes tanoim. So the question was what Rabbi Mani paskin, but there's a machlokes tanoim. Somebody was taking out water. Madla means to draw water from a bore, and then somebody else came. His chaver, his shutter, came and said, "Let me, and I'm going to draw water." So Tanakama says, he left the second one using the well. He's asked to use it, and he's using it. So the first one is pater. Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov Machlokas. He says no, only when he gives over the cover. That's the way of saying you're appointed now to cover the bore, but if you just let him use it, it doesn't mean that the first one is off the hook. And now the Gemara explains why. Why should there be a machlokas about that? What's the machlokas? Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov Savar Yesh Beira. Hi mididei kova male, v'hai mididei kova male. Rabbanan Sabri ain't Beira. So does the color code just shows who owns what. Rabbi Elazar ben Yaakov was the one who said Mishim Shalom Dalyo. And the Gemara explains that he understands Yesh Beira. He owns Yesh Beira. And the Rabbanan was saying Mishenichum Mishtamish hold Ein Beira. What does Yesh Beira and Ein Beira mean? So. Okay.
I guess I'm sort of listening to what you're saying. I'm getting that I need it. Well, maybe I don't need it.
So what is Yesh Beira and Ein Beira? Yesh Beira, when two people are shutfim, we have a proportional shnei shutfim. So when they shouldn't, but one of them uses it, the other one uses it. That's not so. You say that it always belongs to both of them, and when one of them is using it, Reuben and Shimon and Reuben is using it. Do you say that Reuben is using Shimon's also? Reuben and Shimon both own it, and even though one of them is using it, but it belongs to both of them. That's what we call the ain bera. That even though using it doesn't mean that this was yours the whole time and it's only yours. This time slot, this water, you don't say that it's only yours. And if you hold the yesh bera, it means that when everyone's using it, it's all his. Yesh bera means that we can decide even afterwards. It's a two shutfin, and one person is using it. That means when he's using it, it's his. When the other one's using it, it's his. Now we're able to clarify a better word to clarify or to what's a better word? To determine. What's the word? Determine whose it is at this present time. If you hold yesh be'er, you can do that. You can say that now that I'm using it, this is mine. I'm using all mine. And when you say ein be'er, so then you're saying that the whole time was both of them, even though you're using one of them is using it, he's using the shukr. How does that fit in Tagama? Was it have to Tagama? I would never figure it out, I think. But Rashi explains. Rashi says that if you say ein be'er, so it constantly belongs to both of them. And when one of them is using it, he's using the other ones also. So he is like a shomer. He is like a shomer. And therefore, when the second one starts using it, he's now a shomer on the first one's chelik. If both of them, Rashi calls it a shoel. He calls it shoel. That if it belongs to both of them, it belongs to Reuven and Shimon, even when Shimon's using it, it belongs to Reuven also. So how is Shimon using it? Because he's borrowing Reuven's. So then he has responsibility. A shomer has responsibility that it shouldn't damage. Like we had, that a shomer doesn't only have responsibility that it shouldn't get damaged, he also has responsibility that it shouldn't damage. So if the bor belongs to both of them, and the second one is using it now, so he's a shoel on Reuven's chelik, and he's responsible for damages. That would be if you hold the Shemanicho Mishtamish. That's Rabbanan. That's a Mishnicho Mishtamish. Since once you let the second one use it, he's fully responsible. Then the first one is not responsible. Why is that? Because ain't bera. But we don't say whenever each one's using it, he's using only his own. Even when he's using it, he's using both of theirs. So when the first one is using it, he's borrowing it from the second. From when Reuben's using it, he's borrowing it from Shimon's part, and when Shimon's using it, he's borrowing Reuben's part. So therefore, each one is responsible because you're a shoel. And when you're a shoel, you have to pay, you have to wash it. It doesn't mean mazik.
That makes sense. When you're a partner with somebody, when you're using it, you're saying,
But there's another side to say, more lumder said yesh bera. Yesh bera means that now it's determined that this was yours. Let's say using it today and I use it today, use it tomorrow. So when I'm using it, it's all mine. That's the way the division of, let's say we would have divided the bar. We would have divided it. So then when it's mine, it's mine, because yours is yours. You could say that by your bar also, even though we don't know whose water is, you look at the water, you see the bar of water, you don't know who's going to get which water. But when you do get, eventually you got the water that you got, that was your water the whole time. And this is my water the whole time. And this one, and what?
What's the source?
That's called the Yeshbera.
Yeah, I understand.
Oh, maybe, I don't know. Maybe it's Svara. I don't know.
It's a svara?
Maybe I don't know. I don't know.
To me, it's like, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. But it's a regular.
Yeah, it's a shot sugar.
So here, if you hold Yeshbera, so then each one when he's using it, he's using his own. So therefore, he's using his own, and therefore, am I saying it right? So Anshiyim Solo Dalio. So he does. Each one doesn't. So if you say Yesh Beira, I'm trying to figure. I hope I'm getting it right. If you hold Yesh Beira, and when each one's using it, it's only his. It belongs to both of them. It belongs to both of them. I'm getting it wrong.
He's taking.
I have to give Akdama. I didn't have a chavrusa today, so I didn't have this chance to discuss it. But Rashi says that according to Bandama, it says, where's Rashi? If you hold Yesh Beira, Hamidi De Kamamale, that if you say that each one is using his own, so then each one is not a shoel. If you hold, how do I say it? How do I go? If you hold Ein Beira, then both of them own it. And when each one is using it, he's a shoel on the other ones. If you hold Yesh Beira, I'm not a shoel. I'm not a shoel on what?
But I own it when I'm using it, and you own it when you're using
You have to get, but it's not good enough. Yeah, and the Gemara doesn't want that. The Gemara wants to say that you're going to be chayiv for your part of the bor until you officially appoint him to be a shomer. This Rashi over here, if you hold yesh beira, the second one is not a shoel on the chilk on mine. If he's a shoel, then he's chayiv to watch mine also. That's if you hold ein beira. Then ein beira means that it's constantly both of theirs, and when one of them is using it, he's borrowing the other ones. But if you hold yesh beira, then each one is not a shoel on the other one's part; he's on his own. Hilkoch, so each one owns each one. We don't know yet what's going to happen, but each one owns his part. At the whole time, it's both of theirs in a way that he's responsible for his chiluk until he appoints somebody to be a shomer. You don't tell that. I think I got it now. That we don't say to the second one that you're borrowing your shirtifs. If you're borrowing, then you're responsible because you're a shower. You'd have to watch his that it shouldn't be mazik. But if you say yesh be'er, then neither one is a shoel. Each one is using what he's using, and whatever he's not using it belongs to the other one. So each one would be full responsibility at all times. Each one has full responsibility. The only p'tur that anybody's going to get is if he appoints a shomer. And the way to appoint a shomer is to give over the cover and say, you're the one who's responsible to wash it now. Does it make sense? Did I get through? Again, if you hold ein brera, so then it constantly, what am I saying? Ein brera means that both of them, it always belongs to both of them, and one of them, when each one is using it, he's borrowing the others. If he's borrowing the others, he has responsibility to watch that it shouldn't damage. And that's going to be the Rabban that says that once you let him use it, once the second one starts using it, so he's a shoel on the first one's chelik, and he's responsible to make sure it's not mazik, and if it's mazik, he has to pay. But if you hold yesh brera, then then no one's a shoel, no one's borrowing from the other one. What I'm using is my own, and you use is your own. So there would be both of them would be responsible until he gives over the other one. He tells the other one, you be a shomer. And the way to make a shomer is not just to let him use it. He's using it. He's using is his. He has no reason why he should watch yours. The only time he has to watch yours is when you officially give him over the cover and say, you give him over the cover. That's another way of saying that you're appointed a shomer. It's good, much. Makes sense?
Yeah.
Okay. If anybody has any complaints, please speak up. Okay.
What's this brayro? I don't how did
Prayer means that even though you're shutfin, when you use it, you are using yours. There's one more example coming up that maybe it'll be a little bit better to understand the concept of yesh be'er and be'er. After you have that concept, then the application to if you're a shoal or not, that'll fall into place. Some Ravina, we find the machlokis, they're consistent in their opinions. If you hold yesh be'er and be'er, the tanan hashutfin shenadru knows them is they're shutfin their own chatzah. Shutfin own chatzah, and they said that each one made a neder. I'm not going to be nana from the other one. But they have a joint property. Are they allowed to go into it? Because when someone goes in, so he's stepping on the other one's shutfis. If we have a shutfis in a chutzah and we're not allowed to be benefit from another, so how am I allowed to go in? I wouldn't be allowed to go in. So that's the question over here. Assuming kanis lechutzah, they're not allowed to go into the chutzah because you're stepping on the other shutfis property also. Every step you take is a shutfis. Part of it is yours, part of it is his. But let's be nakav omer as a nichlas so shalom, the nichlas is so shalom. Every step you take, that step that you're walking on is yours, and the one he steps on is his. And then it's nizbar the whole time. Maybe there's lots of time also. Maybe time is also divided. It's also a dimension besides the three dimensions. There's a fourth dimension called time. So maybe for that time that's allotted to you. So that's called yesh be'er. That later on when I use it, I say that the whole time this was mine. So if you take that back to our machlokis, time of it is good. Yesh be'er and be'er. That when you use it, it's determined that this was yours the whole time. You're not shutfim. You're shutfim, but they have a division of the shutfis. This is my half, this is your half. So by the bor, if you say yesh brera, so each one, when he uses it, he's only using his and he's not borrowing the others. If you hold ein brera, so
that he has
it's now clarified, it's now determined what this now was what I did yesterday. Yesterday I made a shutfis, but we didn't add it to how it's divided. But now when I use it, that shows that this was mine the whole time. So then they're not borrowing from each other. Each one is using his own. If so then the second one using the board doesn't have a chrayis to watch the first ones. You watch yours. I'm watching mine. You watch yours. The only reason he's going to be a chrayis, the only way to get the chrayis off the first one is that he officially makes the second one a shomer by giving him over the cover. If you hold ein brera, so that both of them constantly own it, and when one of them is using it, he's borrowing the others. If you're borrowing, so then a show, it's nice to watch it. So here also, Ravina said the same things over there, but my kamuflig over there by the Chatzah, by Nadran no, but Lesbian Akab Sava Yesh Bera, had the Nafshay, had the Nafshay Ayel, Rabban Savi and Bera. Lesbian Akab holds that Yesh Bera, and each step you go into the Chatzah, you're going into your own Rishus. The step that you're taking is on your own, and your Shutta doesn't own it. The Shutta owns the other place of the Chatzah. So each one is allowed to go in, and it's not called stepping on somebody else's property. Rabban Savi and Bera, so the whole time it belongs to both of them, so you're not allowed to go in. That's the end of the Sugya. Machlokis, if when the first one gets a ptor of washing it, either when the second one is using it, so the second one is using it already, so now the second one became a shoel on the first ones, so the first one is pater, and or only when he gives them over, makes them officially a shomer by saying, "Here's the cover, and you wash it."
So in Gregor, then the two partners themselves have to always
They're always
let somebody use it.
no, that's the agreement. No, the agreement is that that both of them could use it, but whenever they're using it, they're borrowing from each other. They made up.
So if somebody wants to use their thing,
What, a third party?
Third party. Then they both have to.
Probably they think that it depend on that. If you hold the yesh brera, then can I can give permission to a third party? I don't know, because you're saying that he's going on to mine. If it's both of us constantly, so then you have to have an agreement that if you bring in a third party. But if wherever I'm going to go, I'm going on mine, so I'm telling him I'm using that. That's mine. I don't have to ask permission. Maybe
unless there's
the
agreement before them now.
Because maybe you don't want someone to be so close to you, so maybe that's understood.
Would you be kind enough to please do the Hechidami again for me, please?
Where's that?
3 lines from the bottom.
No, we didn't get there. We didn't get so far. We go up to the print.
That's the end of the sugya.
End of the sugya is before that, I think. I think it's by the parentheses, 4 lines up.
Oh, okay, okay.
That's good. Now, New Gemara with parentheses till the end of the sugya. It's agav. It doesn't have to do with our subject. The only common denominator is going to be something about a dalio, giving over a cover, the cover of the bore. Somebody sold a bore. He sold a bore. A bore has a cover. So giving over the cover is the way of making the kinyan. That's what it seems to say. By giving over the cover of the bore, that's the way the buyer made the acquisition. And the Gemara doesn't always talk about it. What does that mean? Hey, Chidami, what do you mean to say? Iba kaskba, likli bekaskba, iba chazaka, likli chazaka. How are you going to bore? Kesef, shtar, chazaka. So there's no such thing as giving over the cover. It's not a kinyan. If you made a kinyan kesef, so the kesef is a kinyan. If the chazaka is the kinyan, it's a chazaka. It means you use it. Whatever. There's no such thing as a kinyan giving over the lid. So the more answers lola mechazaka, u'boy l'meim olei lechazeku k'ni, v'chimen shemasa lo dalio, kamandam olei lechazeku k'ni dami. The case would be chazaka. If it's kaspa, say you gave him the money. Once you give him the money, so you own it. You don't have to say anything. But by chazaka, it means you use it. It's true, using it makes is a chazaka, but it's only because he gave you permission to use it in a way to make a chazaka. Acquire it by making a chazaka. Just because somebody uses, someone's going to go over to your bar and start using it doesn't mean he acquires it. You have to have permission to make a kinyan. So by saying le chazeku kinyan, go and make a kinyan, the owner says make a kinyan, then he uses it, then he draws water, so then that's going to be the kinyan. But if he didn't say use it, so he wouldn't be kona. So for that, the Gemara says that giving over the lid is a unspoken way of saying you may make a kinyan.
Authorization to make it.
Authorization to make a kinyan. So it's nothing to do with a kinyan. The word sounded like that's the kinyan, and it says not the kinyan. Does that have anything to do with Gemara before? No, nothing. It's in parentheses because it's just the similar words about the masalo dalio. Before the masalo dalio meant that the two shutzim and is giving over the lid. You're now responsible to wash it. I'm making you a shomer to wash it. But here the Gemara means that's a way of saying you may make it. You're authorized to make a kinyan. So it just comes in because of the word. The Gemara brings another 2 cases that are similar ideas. Somebody sold their house to his friend, to a fellow man. Also, it says such a thing as giving over the key. And the Gemara says, what is this thing called giving over the key? By giving over the key, that's the kinyan. And the Gemara says, what kind of kinyan is that? We know the kinyan of a house. What's that have to do with giving over a key? The case would be chazaka, the same terrace as before. It's just an authorization that you're allowed to make a kinyan. Because if someone's just going to make a kinyan by using the house, he's not kona, only if he got authorized from the owner. He has to say, go and make a chazaka in order to be kona. By giving over the key, that's an unspoken way of saying, I'm authorizing him, you may make a kinyan. And the third case, also a similar idea, someone's selling a flock of sheep. he's selling a flock to his fellow man. By giving over the mashchuchas, which we don't know what that means yet. We'll see in a second what the mashchuchas is. It sounds like mashicha. That's something which draws the whole flock. And we'll see what that is. Kana. So giving over the mashchuchas is the kinyan on the whole flock. And the Gemara once again doesn't know what we're talking about. Whatever kind of kinyan you need in order to make a kinyan on behema daka. So let it be. Mashicha, Masira, there's a sugi in Kedushin spoke about this. We won't go into the details of which kinyan, but whatever kinyan you need, either you have to pull the sheep or you have to give over the sheep. What is this about giving over the mashchuchas? The answer is once again, la'olam b'mashicha, that Imam should have to make a kinyan on the sheep. But the boy, the man, but you have to authorize him. You may make a kinyan just because somebody's going to pull somebody else's sheep, doesn't get ownership. It's called stealing. So he has to authorize him to make a kinyan. By giving over the mashchuchas is another way of saying it unspoken that you're authorized now to make the kinyan. So we finished all the sugyas. So his whole thing is agav, and the Gemara wants to know what's mashchuchas. My mashchuchas. Hacha tagimu karkashta. Rabbi Yaakov Amar Iza Dasla Berichidu. Karkashta means a bell. Is that true? Karkashta zug. Yeah, he gives the bell. The bell is what draws the flock. When he rings the bell, the flock follows him. So by giving over, that's why it's mashchuchas. It's a moshech. By giving over the mashchuchas, that means you have the steering wheel, and that's a way of authorizing him to make a kinyan mashicha. And the other pshat is that he gives him the goat that goes in front of the flock that everybody knows, or either we know from experience or from the Gemara and Shabbos, that the goats go in front of the flock of sheep. That's the teva. If you put goats and sheep, the goats are going to go in the front, and there's the goat that goes in the front, and he leads everybody else. It could be maybe there, even by goats also, you have the leading goat, the one who's the his the nature is more of a leader. He goes in front and he pulls everybody. Everybody goes after him, and that's what the Gemara says. It's the ge'ez that goes in front of the flock. Just to point out another mashal about this this mashchuchas, this goat that goes in the front. That Rav Chisda, a certain Galila, somebody from Golo, from the north, he said a drush in front of Rav Chisda that when the shepherd is angry at the sheep, he blinds the leader because they're all going to go off the cliff. So that's another way of saying that the leadership is blinded when Hashem wants to punish the people, and the leadership, as we see, does crazy things, and that's called that Hashem is blinding them. Maybe Avachim also, but sometimes Hashem blinds them in order that they should go, that the flock should go the wrong way. So that's a mashal about the A's, the goat that goes in front of the. So I think all this is parentheses.
Okay,
Yes.
just
Sorry,
prior to that,
can you translate the words at the end, what he said from the man from the Galil?
Which from where?
The man from the Galil. What did he say? Could you translate the words?
He said kadrog is raya al ana. Kad means kasher. Kasher koes haroeh al hatzon. Oseh la moshech iver. When the shepherd is angry at the flock, at the sheep, on the sheep, so he makes the nagda. The nagda is the puller, the leader. He makes the leader to be a summa, to be blind.
Thank you.
Okay, that's good. First sugi is good. What we have that two people that are shutfim in a bar, each one has responsibility to watch that no one should fall in. But if someone falls in, both of them are responsible. And the Gemara has the issue: when does the first one exempt himself? Either if you hold ein brera, so then as soon as he gives the second one to use it, so now he's the shoel, and therefore he's going to be chayiv to watch that shouldn't be mazik. If you hold yesh brera, so he's not a shoel. When is he going to be chayiv? Only if the first one officially makes him a shomer. How does he make him a shomer? Either by saying so or by giving him over the lid, and now you watch the bar for both of us. Then the second one's going to be chayiv, and the first one will be pater. New Mishnah, all about bar. Kisahu Arishon, the bar sheni matzah magula below kisahu sheni chayiv. The first one covered it. The first one covered the bar. Two shutfim. The first one covered it, and the second one came, and somehow it got uncovered. Doesn't say how. There was a covered bar. He covered it well. And then one of the shutfim came and saw that it was uncovered, and he didn't cover it. So he's chayiv. The first one didn't know that it was not covered. As far as he knew, it was covered. So the first one was part. And the second one, he saw that it's uncovered, so he would have to cover it. He's going to be responsible. So the Gemara is going to talk about the point. If you covered it and got it uncovered, you're not responsible because you're known. She didn't know that it was uncovered. Should we open the windows? How should
all four.
Yeah.
Yeah, open the windows.
Who's-
My God,
who's
we could open
guy?
the windows.
Was the second guy, did he own the board too, or?
Yes, yes, both of them should. The same case as before, there are two shutfim in a boat, and the first one covered it, and it was fine. He went and he covered it. But when the second one came, he saw that it was uncovered. So he has responsibility to cover it, and if he didn't, he's going to be the one that's chayiv. The first one's going to be potter because he covered it. Okay, next. If somebody, the owner of the bar, one owner, someone owned the bar and he covered it properly, and but somehow it doesn't say how it happened, but somehow a shor chamor fell in. Question is going to be how did he fall in? If it was covered, how did he fall in? We'll see. So he's parted because he did what he's supposed to do. He covered it. But Loki so if he didn't do a proper cover, and then he's going to be chayiv. He covered it, but he didn't cover it with a good cover. The nafal l'socha shor chamor meis chayiv seems to be simple. It could be that it's so simple that Gemara doesn't have to find some chiddush over here. If you did a good shmir, you put. If you did a not good shmir, you chayiv. And it must be some chiddush over here. Next.
Kids came by and picked it up. That's it.
So it's not his fault. Is it his fault? Because he has to make it was supposed to do it in a way that it shouldn't be able to pick it up by kids. It's a ruch masuya maybe. That's what we're talk about. That he has to make it.
It's not chayiv. Somebody has to be chayiv. So.
Not necessarily. If it's honest, it's honest. Okay. Not for the fun of we call a kriya chayiv. Lacher we call a kriya potter. So I'm not sure about all the details. We won't get to the Gemara on this yet, but today. But here it says if the shore fell in because the sound of the digging. What do they do? What do they use nowadays when they want to dig? What do they call that?
Jackhammer.
A jackhammer. So because of the jackhammer, the shore fell in. So who's chayiv? He's chayiv. Who's chayiv? If the shore fell into the ball because of the jackhammer, he got scared from the noise, so he jumped. He fell into the bore. So it says chayiv.
They were jackhammer.
Right. So there'll be more details. Rashi has to shut them exactly, but the word chayiv, Rashi says means the balabor is chayiv. The one who's digging, even though he made a lot of noise, and he's the one who caused the shore. That's only called the grama. So he's indirect, so he's not chayiv for the fall of the shore, but the bor is chayiv, and it needs explanation. I don't have the explanation yet. It's going to be in the Gemara. Rashi brings to Pshatim. We'll see as we get there. But if he fell achra, then we call that kriya pater. So Rashi says that says we call that kriya here has nothing to do with ptor. Even if it would have fallen backwards, for some reason falling backwards, whatever the word backwards means, achra means behind it. Backwards, I'm not sure what the word means. It might be a machlokas in the Gemara. What the word lachrav means, we'll put it on hold. I don't know. We're just reading the Mishnah, and we would have even liked the Mishnah should be printed later on by the Gemara. Today's Gemara is not going to include this part of the Mishnah, but the words are that if the shor fell in because of the sound of the digging, so the balabor is chayiv. Right? It doesn't say, it says chayiv, but Rashi says it doesn't mean the digger. The digger is part because it's a groma, but the balabor is chayiv, even though like sort of somebody pushed him in. It's because of the kol kriya. So why should the balabor be chayiv? We'll talk about that. But if he fell la'achra, whatever that means, backwards or means behind it, whatever that means, so he's potter. Rashi says kol kriya is not the issue over here. That's only because the Reisha said kol kriya, so the Sefer also says kol kriya, but the point is la'achra potter. Next part of the Mishnah, all about bor. Nafal l'socha shor v'keleb and ishtabru, chamor v'keleb and iskaru. If a shor fell in together with his gear and whatever he's carrying, so and it broke, the shor got damaged, the door shor died, whatever damaged, and the keleb broke, he's chayiv.
And Caleb
And the chamor, or chamor v'keleb and iskaru. A chamor fell in with his packages, and the packages tore also. So chayiv ala behema, pater ala kelem. In both cases, he's chayiv for the shor chamor, like it says in the pasuk, the nafal shamar shor chamor. So he's chayiv for that, but he's not chayiv for the kelem, not for the kelem of the shor, not for the kelem of the chamor. So if they have packages or a plow, whatever it might be, so you pater on kelem, boris pater on kelem, and this is we had it many times already, but here's what the Mishnah says: so, that a boris pater on the damage it did to kelem. Then I'm sorry, nafal l'socha shor v'chayshot v'katan. If a shor that the shor is a cheresh of katan. Usually we have a cheresh of katan as a person, okay, but here it means the shor itself is a cheresh of katan. The shor is deaf, dumb, and the shor is a shota, and the shor is a katan. Still chayiv, or maybe dafka chayiv. We'll see the Gemara. We know that usually we talk about a cheresh of katan by a human. Here we're talking about a cheresh of katan on an animal, and it says yechayiv if that kind of shor falls in. What if a regular shor falls in? We'll see. But if a human being fell in, and there's no difference if it's a katan or an eved, pater, shavalo adam, chamavalo kelim, so shavalo adam, that the shor is not chayiv on misas adam. The bor. The bor is not chayiv on the death of a human being. No difference if it's a katan. You might think that there's more responsibility for the death of a katan, but Rashi says he doesn't have das to look where he's going. The Gemara says that even all people don't go. All people don't go, and and your pater but you still putter on the death of a person. A bor is putter on the death of a person, even if it's a katan, and also an eved, no difference. That's the Mishnah. So we have a lot of sugis, about 7 sugis in the Mishnah, but we'll take it from the beginning. What was the first case? It said that someone covered it. The first 2 shutfim, one of them covered it, and the second one found that it's uncovered. The second one is chayiv. And the question is, how did it get uncovered? Is that a way to say it? The Rishon, Adem was mifta. No, the Gemara doesn't ask the question, how did it? The Gemara doesn't ask, how did it get uncovered? The Gemara asks, is he forever putter? Means he, as far as he knows, he covered the bor. Is he forever putter? What's going to make him chayiv? What's going to make him chayiv? After he covered it properly, when is he chayiv? The Rishon Adem is mifta. And that's nothing to do with the Rishon and the Sheni. It could be we're talking about a one bala bor. Bala bor covered a bor, and it got eventually uncovered, and it's not his fault how it got uncovered. Is he forever putter? Could he? Let's say he covered it, and then he passes by, and he sees that it's uncovered, but he says, I covered it. But no, that's going to be the sugya. The time it takes that he should know about it. Once he knows about it, so then he's responsible to cover it. The time it takes that they should inform him. So, I'm saying Taisus Pshat, maybe Asher is different Pshat. Taisus says that according to Shmuel, once they informed him that his bor, he heard the rumor that his bor is uncovered, he has to be choshesh. According to Rav, he doesn't have to be choshesh. The type of people is that that's because they say a rumor that I got uncovered, I know that I covered it. He doesn't have to trust them. He's not responsible to go checking if his bor is uncovered, even though he heard about it. According to Shmuel, he does have to. For Rabbi Yochanan Omar, they showed you question of the gears that is held like Rav Shmuel, but that it's good. Now he knows his bor is uncovered, but he doesn't have another lid. He has to go to the lumber yard and get to cut down the tree, and then to make a lid and to be able to cover it takes time. So during that time, does he have to make a shomer that should watch the bor? He covered it. So according to Rabbi Yochanan, a big kula that we give him the time, he doesn't have to leave a shomer over there. He covered it, and now he has to cover it. Go to cover it. How do you cover it? He has to go to find the lid. He has to buy it in the store. He has to go to the lumber yard. He has to knock down the tree. Whatever he has to do. So he's putter from the damage that the bor might do until
Why?
because he covered it.
Yeah, but the method he's causing damage.
He's honest. He's honest at this point. So he's going to cover it. So they didn't obligate him to make a shomer to watch it until he does that, which is a chiddush. And you might say that this is only once he covered it bonus, but in the beginning, when somebody makes a bor, so he's not allowed to make a bor, and then I'm going to go to get a cover. It'll take me another 10 hours to find the cover. Then he's not allowed to make the bor until. But here that he made the bor in a way that he covered it, and he was perfect because he did a good job. If he got cover bonus, if on his makeup, that he doesn't have to put a shomer until he goes himself to get the bor as long to get the cover as long as it takes. New subject. He did a good job. And here it says Perish did a good job and he's putter. It's similar to the beginning of the Mishnah. The Mishnah also said that he covered it in a way that he's putter. And the question is going to be, if you covered it in a good way, so how did the shard down fall inside? There's a good cover on it. So of course it has to be that somehow it got uncovered. So the Gemara is going to talk about that. Kiso Karoy and a shard fell in and died. He's putter because he did a good job. So the question is, given the Kiso Karoy, how did he fall in if there's a cover on it? So one line answer that it got worms, termites, whatever. They ate it up. So he didn't realize, and the mice said it did rot. The wood rotted, and when the shore stepped on it, he fell in. But the Bala says the smash mobile that's the Balabais' putter. He doesn't have to assume that it got eaten up, that it got rotten. He put a good
I don't understand this whole thing. It's pikuach nefesh. If a person calls something pikuach nefesh, he has to. It's not like a regular einus that you said, okay, it's not my fault. It's something that's endangering the tzibur.
So he did a good job. Now the question is, how long?
Check every
how
6
often?
months. I know whatever it might be a problem.
So good. I don't know. It seems to be not. And maybe the Bezdin, the municipality, is going to go around checking these kind of things the same way they check the trees shouldn't fall down and all kinds of things that the city takes care of. But it's not his damage. He did a good kisur.
To me, it's a chiddush.
So Rabbi Yisrael Bar Chana said this teretz, and the Gemara temporarily is going to forget the teretz because it had a question. I mean, not because it had a question. It had a question and thought I had a right from the Mishnah. And then we're going to come back to this teretz. That the Mishnah, you could learn that the reason that the case was that there were termites and it ate it up, and he didn't have to be choshish for that. And that's the case that he's putter because he did a good job, even though the Maisa, the shore did fall in. But the man is going to left field, nothing to do with this Yitzchak Bar Bachana. We're forgetting about him. So which is heavier, a shore or a gomel? So I always think the shore is heavier, but it's not so. The gomel is bigger than the shore, and the gomel weighs more. So if you had a kiso, you had a cover of a lid of the bore that was able to withstand the weight of an ox, but it wasn't able to withstand the weight of a camel. And the Gemara is going to soon talk about if camels go in that vicinity or not. But so far, just the strength of the bore, it could tolerate ox, but it can't tolerate the weight of a gomel. It seems if a gomel would come, it seems partial in the Gemara. If the gomel would come and fall in, he would be chayiv because it wasn't strong enough to uphold the camel. But the case was that the gomel came but didn't fall in. He just weakened it. Aruha. He weakened, but the fact that he stepped on it, such a big animal, so it weakened the cover but didn't fall. And later on, when ox came, he fell in. If the gomel wouldn't have come on, stepped on it, then the cover would have been strong enough to uphold the ox. But since the gomel came first and it weakened the cover, eventually when the ox came, so it did fall in. Is he chayiv for that? Is the owner chayiv? Does that call that he made a good cover or didn't make a good cover? Does he have to be choshesh that gemalim are going to come and weaken the lid? And the Gemara explains what's the case. Amri, they said in the Bismedrash, Hechidami, what's the case you're talking about? What's the question exactly? If it's usual that camels should pass by over there, of course he has to be choshesh that gemalim are going to come, fall in, or even not fall in, they're going to weaken their cover. And of course he has to be choshesh that that's what's going to happen, and therefore the cover is not sufficient for the oxen. And if it's not usual camels go over there, the big truck doesn't come, usually only cars, and a big truck came. So he's honest. He doesn't have to expect that it's going to happen and it's going to weaken his lid. So what's the question? The question is, the case is that once in a while camels pass by also. What's the question? Do you say that since once in a while camels do pass by, so he should have thought about it and he should have realized that it could weaken his lid and therefore he's chayiv if the shore falls in? Or since on a regular day camels are not there, so only oxen pass by, he doesn't have to be choshesh for the chance that once in a while camels come and maybe it's going to go on my bore and it's going to weaken it and then the shore is going to fall in. How much does he have to be choshesh? So the Gemara goes to our Mishnah, and we said that Mishnah is pretty simple. It says that if he did a good cover, he's part. If he didn't do a good cover, he's chayiv. But the Gemara is going to look for some chiddush. There has to be some chiddush over there. Tashma kisol keroi v'nafal l'soch hashor chamor meis pater. He did a good job by covering it, and the shor chamor anyway fell in. He's pater because he did a good job. Hey chidami, what's the case? What does it mean exactly? Was keroi? A heavy duty cover that's protected even from a truck, even from a gomel. So, what happened? How did he fall in? Now, we know the answer to this question, but we're going to forget it. We know the answer about the termites, but the Gemara doesn't know that yet. So, how did it, if it was a good cover, no one could have fallen in. There, Amud Beis. The low karoi, the gemalim. It must have been that it was strong enough for some animals, for the cars, but it wasn't strong enough for the truck. The Mamish is the Gemara is very elaborate in talking in this page, and it's pretty simple. And the Gemara is going to say again that if he should have expected that the gemalim are going to come, so then he's only a poshea. And if it's not the usual that camels should pass by over here, so why should he be chayiv? He's honest; he doesn't expect it. It must be the case of our question. The case must be that once in a while the camels come, and here they came and they weakened it, and then when the shore came, it fell on it. Then he says that he's pater. This is part of the Mishnah. It says that if he did a good job, this is called a good job. He did a good job because he didn't have to expect. So you see this side of the question, you see the answer is that since right now there are no gemalim, he doesn't have to be choshesh. Maybe gemalim come once in a while and they're going to weaken the lid and the shore is going to fall in. So you see that he's an honest. So all this was to bring a riot that he's pater. It doesn't have to be choshesh for camels that might come. So much says no, it's not a proof because we know the answer already. Below, not necessarily. He made a perfect lid, but the termites ate it up. The kasha was if it's such a good cover, so how did they fall in? First white line. The kasha that was a Yitzchak Bar Bachana we had. That it got rotten from inside out because of the termites, and that he doesn't have to think. That he doesn't have to worry about. So that wasn't a good riot. So you go to the next line. The next line, the Mishnah said that if he didn't do a proper cover, so he's chayiv, which we said also was pashut. And you have to have a chiddush. Tashma, Loki so if he didn't do a good job and the ox fell in, so he's chayiv. And again, what's the case? If the case that's not a good cover at all, it can't hold up even for the cars. Pshita, of course, he's chayiv if the car fell in. The chayiv, you have to say that he's chayiv. Of course, he didn't do a good job. It's not called covering. It must be that it can hold up for the car, it can't hold up for the truck. So the trucks come over there. If it's normal for trucks to pass by, so surely it's chayiv if it's that if the shore fell in, because he has to know that Gemalim passed by and they weaken it. And if trucks don't pass by, so he's honest and he shouldn't be chayiv. The case must be our case, mamish our case, and the Gemara go and takes another 3 lines to say it over the case. The Gemara it must be the case is that they come once in a while and they came and they weakened the lid, and then the ox came and fell in, and it says it's chayiv. Why is that? Because since they come once in a while, he's negligent. He should have thought about it. So the Gemara thinks that this would say that he's chayiv, and the Gemara now is going to say it's not a proof. Now, hold on. The question, the gears over here, you can say that it's the Gemara is going to say that it's pshita. And the Gemara is going to say that you're right. There's no chiddush in the sefer. The reason why he says it because it says the ratio, so it just says the mirror halacha that if it was not once karoi was a chiddush, but a slim mitocha was a chiddush. So the sefer is going to just be agav. But the question of the gears, if it says karoi lishmam v'lo karoi l'gemalim u'shchichi gemalim, or you could say lo karoi lishmam v'lo karoi l'gemalim, he didn't make a good cover. And the question if he didn't make a good cover, either for whatever's normal over there, for the cars, for the trucks, whatever he did, it wasn't a good enough what was expected. So he's surely chayiv. So the question was pshita with the kashalach posheyahu, and it's pshita that is chayiv. You're right, it's pshita. I did the nasif reisha kisol karoi nasif sefer nami lo kisol karoi, because it did talk about when he did cover it properly, so it just ended off. If he didn't do it properly, so it's chayiv. There's no kiddush over there. Okay, Ikad Amri. The Ikad Amri is going to be a whole different Gemara. It's going to be a different version of the question, but the different version is a whole different question. Ikad Amri. The Gemara takes out all the Bach takes out all this whole in between. You could put it in, you could take it out. It's going to say the question is a different question. It says in the parentheses, so to speak, that it says this is not a question. How about that? Anami v'adei lo yiboy the chibud asim leprokim poshehu the boy lo yasuk yadaite ki yasuk yadaite ki boy lo the following question. That this also wouldn't be a question because it is considered a poshia since once in a while camels come. He doesn't have to worry about it. I'm not sure. Okay, I'm not sure if the Gemara has to say the way it says. It could be that whatever you want. In the first question, whatever you say, does it have to be choshes for the camels? Does it have to be choshes for the camels? In a case where it's only the prokim, I don't see in the Gemara, I don't see yet maybe, that you have to put the first question into the Igad. The first question, I don't know, a different question altogether. But here goes the question. The question is the following. A place where he did a pshia. Because in this place, the cars come, trucks come also. He has to be choshish for trucks, and he didn't do it strong enough that it sold up a truck. But Lamaisa, what happened? Hisliam mitocho. What happened was the truck didn't come, the camel didn't come. That's not what happened. The reason why it fell in is because it got termites. So his pshia has nothing to do with the termites. Mm-hmm. He was pshia because he made it strong enough for the ox, and the Maisa termites came and ate it up, and that's why the ox fell in. But he should have been choshish that camels come also, the trucks come, and when the trucks come, they're going to weaken it, and it's going to fall, and the ox might fall in. So he was pshia. There was a pshia, but the ox didn't fall in because of his pshia.
It did.
It fell in because it got termites.
Right. So what was his pshia?
His pshia was that he didn't make it strong enough for the trucks.
Nothing to do with it.
And I think that's the case. So Lamaisa, it has something to do with the first of Mashiach Sofa bonus. The Gemara is not going to say this terminology. Tosis is going to talk about it. I'm not sure if that fits into the Gemara or not. We'll just try. But so far, the case seems to be that he made a cover good enough to hold up the cars, not the trucks. And trucks do come, so it's not a good enough. And Lamaisa termites came. That's the reason why it fell in. So Mahu is he chayv for the ox falling in? Do you say, I'm not sure what the words mean, since he was negligent as far as the camels falling in, that the trucks are going to come over, so then it's pshia also with termites. I don't know what that words mean. It doesn't mean closer to pshia stuff a bonus. It seems from Tosfos that doesn't mean that. But is that called a migu that since he's Pesher for that, he's also considered Pesher as far as the termites. Oh, Duma, Lo Min Amigo. That since the Maisa didn't get, the camels didn't come, the reason why he fell in is because of the termites, so he's not Chayim. I would think that this is the question of Tosef Pesher Suffer bonus. I'm not sure. We'll see the Gemara and see a Tosef over here. But the Gemara continues again from the same two rayas. Means our raya, our Gemara. Again, the Mishnah said that if he covered a good covering, is potter. If he did a bad covering, is chayiv. And again, the simple pshat is going to be prushas, pshita. Each thing is pshita. You have to have a chiddush, and the Gemara is going to try to plug in this chiddush into the Mishnah. Tashma kiso karoy v'nafal l'socha shochamo meis potter. He did a good covering, and the shore fell in anyway, so he's potter. And of course, what's the case? We know already the case. Vitma Allah, Amra Bitzchok Barbachana, Sheslim B'tocha, that the termites came. The termites came. The termites came. That the reason why he fell in is because of termites. And it's a chiddush that he's potter. Moshe said, or Avraham said, that he should have checked it. He said, who said that he should have checked it? Even he should have checked for termites. How often do you check your tefillin?
But here's the kind of Fasha says check more often.
Even though it has nothing to do with the nefashis. He's potter on other.
Yeah,
that-
yeah, but you have to be careful. You
But it's nothing to do with the shore. It's not supposed to the nefashis for shvar falling in. I'll put it this way: the people wouldn't fall in. The people surely wouldn't. No, it's comes to nefashis. People wouldn't fall in. It's only a question of the shore falling in. It's they don't give you the car or the truck. But it's not going to be the person. For pedestrians, it's okay. So it's not
the car
supposed
is
to.
also dangerous. The car carrying people.
I mean the shvar. Okay, I mean the shore or okay. Yeah, not the people. Tashma, I just translated the car and the truck because it makes it a little bit more
Okay.
more update. But okay, Tashma, so it says here that he did a good covering, but the mice termites came, and that's why he fell in. It says his potter. Hechidami, how good of a cover did he make? He made a perfect cover, and the mice termites came. Pshita the potter. Now that's this pshita the potter. You're not gonna like. Why is pshita the potter? You should have checked it once in a while. The Gemara's gonna say that. The Gemara doesn't know yet. The Gemara thinks he could have made a good cover. Termites. What else to think about termites? So that would be pshita. What should he have done? Not his fault. The Gemara wants to plug this case in. The questionable case would be that he made it good enough for cars, not good enough for trucks. But the Meister and trucks do come, so he should have been choshesh. But the Meister trucks didn't come, and the reason that it fell in is because of the termites. And it says potter. So you see the answer to your question. So you see, don't say that he's responsible since he was pesher for the trucks, so therefore it's considered pesher for the termites also. So the more wanted to be right that it's potter. But the more says no, and the more is going to say that maybe he should have checked it. He made a perfect cover, and the worms came, the termites came, and the kasha was, what should he have done? With the kakashla, what should he have done? No, he has a way to check it. You called the inspector, you should have come and banged on it to see if it's strong, and he would have figured out that it's hollow, and he would be able to deter the problem. Kamashma, you don't have to do that. So you can't still why do you have to do that? I don't know. It's chazaka that doesn't have termites. You don't have to. He's not responsible. That's considered an onus. But it's not second.
He was posher.
Maybe I'm just trying to answer your question. I don't know if it's a true answer. Yes, I've laid.
In other words, are we saying even though he was posher in terms of the oxen, he's pater because of the termites? Is that what we're saying at the end?
Even again, no. The Gemara is saying no. The Gemara is saying there's no pshia. The Gemara's answer is saying that is the dichoy. There's no pshia. He made an excellent cover, and the termites came, and he is pater. And this pshita is an onus. He did everything he could, and the chiddush is you might have thought that he's responsible to check it once in a while, that it doesn't have termites. Kamashma, he doesn't have to do that. But if he would have done a pshia for the camel, and at Lamaisa, it was a pshia over there because he should have made it strong that a camel shouldn't be able to fall in, but he didn't, and it was a pshia, and Lamaisa it fell in because of the termites. That the Gemara doesn't know. The Gemara saying it's not arrived from our Mishnah yet.
Oh, okay.
Is that good?
Yeah.
Okay. So the Gemara tries another proof. Now it's going to be from this next line. Once again, the same thing. The Mishnah says if you did a good cover, you put. If you did a bad cover, you chayiv, and it's pshita. You have to put some chiddush into it. So the Gemara in the beginning put the pshia, the chiddush of the ratio. You put is even if termites ate it, and the Gemara had to find the chiddush over it. And the Gemara found that that's a chiddush on itself. Even though you did a good cover, it's a chiddush. You might think you have to make a call to inspect it once in a while. And now Tashma from the next case that it says that he didn't do a good cover, and he's chayiv, and of course he's chayiv. He didn't do a good cover. What's the case that he's chayiv? He didn't make a good cover to anything. You have to say it's pshita that he's chayiv. He didn't make a good cover. That it's good enough for the cars, not good enough for the trucks. And he says that he's chayiv. Now, what's the case? The trucks come over there. If it's usual that Malam should come, so he would be posher because camels come and they didn't make it strong enough. Trucks come, he didn't make it strong enough. And if there are no trucks coming, so why should it be considered a posher? The Gemara wants to figure out. Maybe the case is he was a posher but the mice, camels didn't come. What happened was that it got wormy, it got termites, and that's the question we want to know. That it was a pshia, but it didn't get damaged because of the pshia. It had damage because of the termites. So that's the Katani Chayiv. So if he says Chayiv, means that we do say the other svara, that since it's considered a pshia for camels, it's a pshia also for the termites. And the Gemara says no, it's not a raya. It's going to say once again that it's only ID. You were looking for a chiddush in the sefer. There's no chiddush in the sefer. Your whole raya was because it has to be a chiddush. It doesn't have to be a chiddush. The same way that the Gemara said in the first Yikudari. That he did it in a way that it's not good enough protection because trucks do come and it wasn't good enough for trucks. And the mice are not that it got termites. Also, the mice got camels did come. And that's why he's chayiv, because he should know that camels come and they're going to weaken it. Like with the kakashalach shita, the whole kasha was that it's no chiddush. You're right, there's no chiddush. I did the nasiv reisha kisel karoi, nasiv sefer nami loki kisel karoi. Since it's had a case of covering it properly, and that was a chiddush, that it was a sliya, there's a chiddush over there. That's why he said the sefer lo karoi, even though it's no chiddush. So we didn't find any raya yet. So we're still looking what's it in if he was pasher l'gam big malam, and the Lamaisa, the way that it happened was that termites came. Tashma nafal l'socha shor shor tepakatan suma ma'alech b'layla chayiv pikech ma'alech b'yom pater. If a shore there was a chev shor tepakatan, this is the end of our Mishnah. Our Mishnah says that the shore was a chev shor tepakatan, so it's chayiv for that shore falling in. We didn't know what's it about a regular shore falling in. Here the Brisa says that if pikech ma'alech b'yom pater, if a regular shore, a normal shore, fell in, you putter, because he's not supposed to fall in. He looks where he's going. The shore looks where he's going. The Gemara question: if people look where they're going, people maybe look straight ahead, but the shore does look down. His head is face down. Normally he looks where he's going. The chereshet of a katan, the shore is the chereshet of a katan, or he's blind, or he goes at night. So then you're chayiv because he doesn't see where he's going. So if he fell into your bore, you're chayiv. So it comes out that the pasuk that says that you're chayiv for making a bore is only in these weird cases that a chereshet of a katan. The shore was a chereshet of a katan fell in, or blind shore, or at night. But if it will be a healthy shore in the daytime, they fell in your putter because it's not expected to fall in. And the question is, it's a pshi on one thing, and it's onus on the other thing. If you say the svara that if he's a pshia for the gomel, he's a pshia for the termites, even though the termites are not expected, but we slap on that it's considered a pshia. So too, since you made a bore, and it could be that at nighttime or a blind shore is going to fall in, so you should be chayiv also for the regular shore that fell in. You see that you don't say the smigur and his potter. So the case of the pshia you made for camels, but the mice the camels didn't come, the termites came, you potter. Now Taisus talks about philosophy pshia sefer bonus. I don't see Taisus going into the Gemara, but that's the yesod of Taisus. I'm not sure if that's found in the Gemara or that's the side point. Taisus says over here the Tiras Riva. And I think I have my notes that's what he paskin. The law. This is about 15 lines into the Taisus, 10, 15 lines. Tiras Riva. The law meaning philosophy pshia sefer bonus chayiv. Elo hecha shemachmas pshia bonus. The only time the philosophy pshia sefer bonus is chayiv is only if the onus came as a result of the pshia. But if the onus that happened wasn't the result of the pshia, it doesn't make a difference what kind of lid you made. Even if you would have made for the trucks, it would have made a super. The termites come to that also. It's not that I made a pshia that I should have made a better cover, but the Maisa, it wasn't the Gemalim that came, the termites came. That's not the case. The case was even if you would have made it for Gemalim also, the termites would have come. It would have made the same problem. So you're not chayiv philosophy for bonus if the onus didn't come as a result of the pshia. I don't know if that I didn't have enough time or wisdom to figure out if that's pshat in the Gemara. But the Gemara says Lamaisa you're potter. I'm not sure if Taisus kasha was a side kasha. I didn't look into it well enough.
The Thomas come in Yavachai.
What?
Thomas come. The Thomas come.
Right. Unless you knew about it. If you find out about it, then you're high. But if you didn't know about it, you don't have to go. You don't have to inspect it. Taisus seems that the words that Taisus seems to me is that he's not going Pshat the Gemara. Kilomin and Migu Nami Mischayt it last Mishas Lineage for him in Yavu Gemal Tchila. Taisus seems to ask like a side kasha. So I don't get clarity yet in the Gemara. What did the Gemara mean if it didn't mean Chalash B'Siyas self bonus? But the Ma'aser Gemara says that you potter, that it says the Ma'aser and onus happened even though you were Pashea, but onus didn't come as a result of the Pshia. So you don't say this Migu and you don't say Chalash B'Siyas self bonus and you potter. You got to the bottom line.
Thomas would, right?
That's really as much as I
Say it tomorrow.
as much as I did. I looked at it a little bit more, but I didn't review it a couple of times. So try to leave it on the bottom line.
What's this?
Okay.
Very strange about your grandfather. I'm showing his rating no more. I don't know. And then